The Sabbath was made for man. This is a day that we get to unplug from the world. We do not need the world's entertainment. We do not need what the world has to offer. Now we can settle down after a hard week of work and rest. And now the sun has set. It's the end of the sixth day. And this is Shabbat Night Live!
It's Shabbat Night Live from Charlotte, North Carolina, with your host, Michael Rood. Join Michael and co-host Scott Laird as they welcome musical guest Anna Maria Soprano. Now, here he is, the Messianic Matador, Michael Rood.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, Torah fans. Welcome to all of the followers of Yeshua Messiah out there in cyberspace. Good Sabbath to you. And we welcome you, those who are watching by way of broadcast television in more than 160 countries around the globe, watching by way of internet that is able to reach billions of people, billions and billions of people around the world. This is Shabbat Night Live. We're coming direct to you from Studio A and the Aviv Moon Studios here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us for the 11 free good news of the kingdom. Here, there's no rabbinic takanot, no Babylonian sun worship, and no papal bull, because this is a no man-made religion zone where we are contending for the faith which was once delivered to the saints. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Executive Director of the Chronological Gospels International Relations, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Laird. Scott.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to have you here. We are looking forward to a lot of excitement here tonight because of the Chronological Gospels and where we are in the entire timeline in Yeshua's ministry. Of course, we are coming to you as we do each week. It is our program that begins the kickoff for Messianic.tv, which is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week Messianic high-definition broadcast network, and it is our program which kicks it off for the first 4 hours, the first 2 hours of Shabbat Night Live, and then the replay of that for the left coast out there in the other part of the world, and then the new programming for this coming week, which I believe that you can check that out in the Messianic.tv website to find out when our program is going on and the different programs that are going to be transpiring during the week, and also the other broadcasters that are on that. And so I look forward to it each week of seeing who's going to be on, what programs are being added to the lineup. And we have been very thankful to have been the primary and at one time just about the only broadcaster on Messianic.tv, simply because all of our programs are done in high definition. And that is thanks to those of you in the Ambassador Club who are giving at least $100 or more a month to help us to be on the air in more than 160 countries on various networks around the globe. Of course, we're on Roku on Messianic.tv. We are also on Inspiration Network International, which is also on Roku on your big screen. We're also on YouTube and on the A Rood Awakening channel, which is in high definition, archived, and then aroodawakening.tv in high definition and audio only. And we invite you, those of you who are out there that want to join in and get in on the chat afterwards, you're very welcome to be part of that fellowship. Of course, iTunes, we're in downloadable podcast in full high definition, and A Rood Awakening from Israel is also broadcast on TBN's The Church Channel, which is our primary prison outreach, as well as getting to the rest of the Christian world. TBN's Enlace, which is the Spanish Christian network, now in their 35th year under the leadership of Jonas Gonzalez, and also the Gospel Channel in Europe, Omega Television Iceland, GEB America Network, the Oral Roberts University, and also Canadian Television, Hope TV Canada. And we are looking forward to much more as we break into these different things. And we are asking those of you whose lives have been blessed, whose lives have been changed, affected by this ministry, remember, it is because of those who have gone before you, whose lives have changed and have helped me to reach out to you. It is because others have helped me to get to you. Now we are asking you to become one of the others who helps me reach out to someone else. It is your responsibility, it is your pleasure, it is your blessing to be able to give to the ministry that continues to feed you with the leaven-free gospel of the kingdom. So we invite you to become a part of the Ambassador Club, and that's just $100 or more a month. And we realize that most people out there in the Western world, the people that are actually getting these broadcasts, make at least $1,000 a month. And so $100 is just a tenth of that. But if you can give more, we greatly appreciate it. I'm still looking to be able to fully fund the Chronological Gospels project that we're going to be filming in Israel. And that is going to then allow us to be on networks all over the world. And I need someone to write a big check to make that happen. So I'm speaking to you out there, the one person that can write that big check, because this is to get the gospel of the kingdom out to the world. So tonight, Shabbat Night Live, we've got the update on the biblical calendar, viewer mail from cyberspace, Area 51 and beyond, our Israel update with Ariella Stegall, the Rood Review with Annie and Laura, and our special musical guest, the Messianic operatic minstrel, Anna Maria Soprano. I guess she's just broke away from the crime family on the East Coast and is here to minister to us in song. And our special guest happens to be the author of the Chronological Gospels. And so we're going to hear from that author here tonight. And this is the next to the last teaching on the last book of the Bible. This is From Here to Eternity, the good news of the apocalypse, the demise of the New World Order. This is episode number 33, Babylon Has Fallen, or the demise of the New World Order. This is what we've all been waiting for, the demise of the New World Order. Now, please take your astronomically and agriculturally corrected biblical Hebrew calendar, which is the celestial terrestrial calendar used in the Second Temple period, at which time the Creator's calendar was based on the visible sign of the renewed moon each month, the Aviv barley in the land of Israel each spring, and this was authorized, sanctified by the Sanhedrin and the high priest in the land of Israel, through a very intricate and clearly defined set of rules that had been in place for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so if you want to know what the new moon is all about, you don't go to Farmer's Almanac, you don't go to the Chinese calendar, you do not go to any calendar, but you go to the writings of those who kept that calendar for thousands of years. In fact, the Pharisees changed that calendar by a deliberate act of the Sanhedrin in 359 of the Common Era, but the Creator still runs the universe according to his calendar and his time clock. If you open up your calendar, you see that on the pagan date, it is sundown on the 21st of March, and that means, 21st of February. I'm a complete month off here. Month of February. I flipped my calendar to the wrong page.
You're getting confused with the Adar bet.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the 12th month. It's February 21st at sundown. That means it's the 21st day of the 12th month. That means, ladies and gentlemen, we have 8 weeks to Passover, and you want to join us for our Passover extravaganza this year, so make plans. Make sure you're saving up so that you can attend this extravaganza, a life-changing event. We are 12 weeks from our Israel tour. For those of you who want to have the experience of a lifetime, this may be your last opportunity, because the way things are brewing, we're going to be talking about this in the coming weeks when we finish up the book of the Revelation. Then we're going to get into some of the prophetic things that are transpiring on planet Earth, even as we speak now. And then we have 15 weeks until Shavuot, which we will be celebrating here in Charlotte, North Carolina again, inviting you to come on in and be part of that. 40 weeks to our AGNC, 7 Assemblies of the Apocalypse, and the School of Tyrannus 2-week cruise and tour of Asia Minor, one of the longest titles of anything that I've ever done, and one of the most fascinating tours as we go into the letters of Shaul as we travel this ancient area of the world. Our upcoming feast, of course, is our Passover extravaganza in Charlotte, North Carolina. Make plans right now to attend April 18th, 19th, and 20th. And this is when we conclude the feast with Yom HaBikurim, or the Day of the First Fruits. This is when Yeshua presented the first fruits. Remember those graves were open when the earthquake, the rocks rent and the graves were open, and when he arose, there were saints in the grave who arose and appeared to many. Well, that is all about the day of first fruits, and Yeshua presented them as the first fruit before the Father's throne in heaven, and was back down on the earth to intercept his disciples on the road to Emmaus in just a very short amount of time. Well, this year, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is going to be again, and our Passover Seder is going to be April 14th or 15th, depending upon the new moon sighting of March 31st, if it's sighted then. And that's when you celebrate it with your family that evening. If you want to know how to do it, get the video, Celebrating Passover. I cannot emphasize it enough. You wouldn't believe the work that went into this, an entire week of filming for you to be able to have an extravaganza in your hands. In here, you're going to learn how to make your own matzah, your own unleavened bread. You're going to see the way that we get to do it here, the way we've done it in Israel for years, and you are going to have the time of your life. Of course, nobody can keep Passover today. The word keep, which is shomer, is very technical. We are never to sacrifice the Passover lamb in the gates of our own city. We only do it in one place, and that one place, the temple's been destroyed. The priesthood is in disarray, but yet we celebrate Passover because Yeshua was our Passover. He was sacrificed for us, and now as we celebrate, we do it with full knowledge of these prophetic shadow pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been to an Orthodox Seder, and I'm speaking to the Orthodox out there, I invite you. If you're Orthodox, please come out to our Passover Seder. Your eyes will be opened. You will understand what Shaul, that first century Pharisee raised at the feet of Gamaliel, what he understood. The feasts of the Lord are all prophetic shadow pictures of good things to come. And when you understand what Yeshua accomplished, what he did in fulfilling those very rehearsals that we had done in the temple for 1,000 years, I'll tell you, the lights will come on. Oh, I know these Christians have been saying, well, these Jews are blind. Wait, blind in part, okay, we may be. But we're not as blind as most Christians are to all the pagan sun god worship festivals they inherited right straight out of Babylon through Rome, through Constantine, okay? We are not going to be embroiled in any of these things the Almighty calls abominations, but we will celebrate the Passover, and we will do it with full knowledge of what Yeshua did. So if you're Orthodox, if you're Messianic, if you're a Christian, if you are a pagan sun worshiper and want to come out of the fog and out of the darkness into the light, be at our Passover celebration. It's only $1,000 a head. It's not even that. I can't even remember what it is. It hardly even covers the cost of the meal that night, let alone the entire weekend extravaganza. But do not miss this. After you do Passover in your own home, come on out to the extravaganza. You're going to understand things like you've never understood before. This is the King is coming, and you're going to see it in a very, very wonderful, exotic, glorious way. Well, the Elders at the Gate Men's Fellowship meets this Sunday. It's the first and third Sunday of each month at 10 a.m. in the morning on the first day of the week. Also, Get Real with Lee and Annie on the Aviv Boone Network, which is the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, the night that the men watch the children, and the women get to do the call-in and all that stuff that happens, and your wives will love you for it. So, men, make sure that you love your wife, take care of the kids for that night, and enjoy that. Well, coming up next, we've got viewer mail, so we're going to be right back after a word for our sponsor, which is you. No, it's not any pharmaceutical corporation sponsoring it, it's you. So make sure you get on the phone, respond, because this is what keeps us free from Babylonian pharmakia and the vice grip of the New World Order. You are in charge. See you in a moment.
This month, for your gift of $50 or more, Michael will send as his gift the Oil of Gladness Personal Prayer Pack. This set contains anointing oil, a tea light, Michael's DVD teaching set, Purim, the Making of a King's Bride, and Michael will also include Sarah Root Smith's book, The Feast for Families, Hanukkah and Purim. And for your gift of $100 or more, the Root crew would also like to give as their gift to you this brass mezuzah for your home. Call, write, or visit our website today.
Well, Torah fans, I am so wound up tonight for the teaching and what we're going to be doing in the book of the Revelation that I just realized I've talked nonstop, and now I get Scott will get a word in edgewise because we've got some communications from cyberspace, Area 51, and beyond.
Indeed we do.
All right, so it's coming in right now from Area 51. We can hear it as it drops into our hands.
Debbie asks us, my husband and I are followers of Torah, but my husband has thrown all of his socks away and wants me to do it too. Well, okay, understandably, because of the mixing of the fabrics in Torah. Please help me make sense out of all of this.
Okay, well, the scripture that we're talking about right here is found in Leviticus chapter 19. And in the 19th verse, it says, ye, which is a plural, you in plural, and that's why King James is particularly effective, because you don't know if it's you singular or you plural in modern English, but ye, you all shall keep shomer, my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle, which is flocks, don't think of bovine, think of flocks, gender with a diverse kind, okay? And so that's number one. And so genetic modification, genetic engineering, this is what it's talking about. You don't mix your flocks, okay? And you shall not sow thy field with mingled seed. Seed of different things in the same plot of land. Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee. Now, the words linen and wool are really not in the text here. The word is sha'anez, and it literally means mingled, but it means mingled of only linen and wool. And so when the scripture talks about this, not to mingle linen and wool together, is specific about this. It's not talking about silk and wool. It's not talking about silk and linen. It's linen and wool. These two items, first of all, when it comes to the Orthodox understanding of this, there are two schools on this. One is that part of the priest's garments, one school of the rabbis has always said of the priest garments and the high priest garments are linen and wool. So they say that is exclusively the domain and a sanctified material just for the temple service of the high priest. And so others were not allowed to have that. Now, another school says that no, it's not that way. Modern Orthodox Judaism, Phariseeism today, says that, the tzitzit are made of wool, the garment is to be made of linen, and so you have that mixture, but it's done by the priest, and that is the only part of the priest's garment or an everyday person's garment that's allowed to be mixed with linen and wool, but it's not woven in together. And that is where they come down to it. And in modern Orthodox Judaism, they actually use light microscopy, a microscope with different light frequencies to determine if linen and wool are part of the same garment. And if it is not a kosher garment. But throughout history, there's never been any question. It's not talking about elastic. nylon, rayon, orlan. It's talking about none of these things. And so the idea of mixture in this throughout history has never been anything outside of linen and wool, and most socks are not made of linen and wool and in that mixture of things. So this is the issue, and this is my answer on that. Now, if your husband is absolutely dedicated to this and says, I want all the socks in the house thrown out, and he says all my children and wife are going to go barefoot, then I would say he's the man of the house, okay? I'm not going to override his position on that, but I would like to share with him that particular thing. It is a mixture of linen and wool, sha'atnez, which is mixture, and it means only linen and wool.
Okay, very enlightening. I've often wondered about that one myself.
Okay.
We have another question from Amy. Amy asks, are Abaddon, mentioned in Revelation 9:11, and Hasatan the same person, both referred to as the destroyer?
Okay. Well, first of all, we're speaking of the 9th chapter of the book of the Revelation, where it says, speaks of Abaddon or Apollyon,
Okay.
the destroyer, and Hasatan. First of all, the destroyer and Hasatan are not names, they are titles. And when we read about this in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, it talks about the gathering together of the saints with Yeshua is not going to take place until the man of sin is apocalyptoed, the man of sin, the son of destruction, the son of perdition, okay, is what it says in King James. The word perdition is apoletio, apoletia, which is from olethos, which is apo is away from, olethos, which means to be destroyed away from. And the whole sense of it is being destroyed or permanently separated from the Almighty.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the form of this. So when it talks about apoleon and apolei, which is, from the same root, it is the destroyer being destroyed away from, and it is one who destroys away from the presence of the Almighty. So that really is a description of both Hasatan and the destroyer, but the destroyer in this case, in the book of Revelation, is speaking of not Hasatan himself, but the one who is fully inhabited by Hasatan. As it says, that the destroyer, the man of sin, will be revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, so that he, as God, sits in the temple of God, proclaiming that he is God. That must go down first before the gathering together. This is exactly what Yeshua says. It's what Shaul says. It's what's in the book of the Revelation. It's all there. It all says the same thing, because Yeshua gives that revelation to each one of his apostles or sent ones in each one of these cases. There is no such thing as a pre-tribulation rapture. That's not going to happen. The destroyer will be apocalyptoed first, and that is what begins great tribulation that ends when our Savior saves us from the wrath to come, which is what we're going to be dealing with more and more.
Okay. One third quick question.
Okay.
Kathy asks, do you know why the Chinese Lunar New Year is different from the Jewish Lunar New Year?
Okay, well, one's Chinese and one is not really Jewish. It's a biblical New Year. The Chinese New Year this year was January 31st, and it is the year of the horse. Now, the BBC made a tremendous subtitle blunder when they wrote, "Welcome to the year of the whores."
Nice.
Right. And this is, no, it's the year of the horse. And this is also called the Lantern Festival, which honors the various gods of the Chinese pantheism, okay? The many gods of the Chinese. It is always the second new moon after the winter solstice. See, it goes all the way back to Babylon. It was the priest of Babylon who divided the year into the four quadrants: the winter solstice, the summer solstice, the vernal and autumnal equinoxes. winter solstice, summer solstice, vernal autumnal equinox. Amen. And so, with the confusion of the languages, they still took their calendar, the reckoning, out to the far reaches of the earth. And so after the winter solstice, the second new moon, that is when the Chinese start their year. And it has nothing to do with the biblical New Year. The biblical New Year is in the month that the barley is Aviv in the land of Israel. This was set aside and apart for us right there while we were in bondage in Egypt. It says that when the Almighty sent the plague of hail and destroyed the barley, and with the fire and the hail, it says because the barley was destroyed because it was Aviv, which is an ancient Hebrew agricultural term that applies only to barley. And it says that from now on, we shall keep the feast of Passover and unleavened bread in the month of the Aviv. For in the month of the Aviv, Ha-Aviv in Hebrew, it's not the month of Aviv, but the Aviv, that is when we came out of Egypt. And so each year, we watch at the end of the 12th month to see if the barley is Aviv in the land of Israel. If it is not Aviv, then we add another month onto the year, and so the barley has an opportunity to ripen because we cannot offer the barley in the temple for the Feast of First Fruit, the Day of First Fruits, or Yom HaBikurim, until it's reached a level of maturity. And so last year, there was no Aviv barley in the land of Israel at the end of the 12th month. It was Aviv at the end of the 12th month, and there were many that said, went over there and said, well, we couldn't find Aviv barley. Well, the fact that they couldn't find Aviv barley only says to me that I have no idea if these people would know Aviv barley if it bit them on the back of the neck. Well, it turns out that the month in which they said would really be Passover, the barley was completely gone. It was consumed. All it was is just completely dry, crusty stalk broken over on the side of the Mount of Olives. There was no of the barley left in on the side of the Mount of Olives. But this year, we really expect that just as in the last year of Yeshua's ministry, the last year, it was only 1 year, but coming around to the month of the Aviv, that there was an Adar bet that year, and we also expect the very same thing this year. It would be extremely rare for it not to be an Adar bet this year. It'd be like unheard of in the history of planet Earth. So there you have it, the differences between the Chinese pagan New Year and the biblical New Year.
That explains it.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is take a short break right now, and I want you to pay particular attention to this about the chronological Gospels. Ladies and gentlemen, took more than 40 years to get this into your hands. Do not pass up this opportunity. Whatever you have to do, sell the car, sell the house, sell one of the children, and get the chronological Gospels. Don't sell one of the children. I'm just talking about indentured servitude for a minimum amount of time. So take it away. Make sure you get the chronological Gospels. See you in a minute.
After 40 years of labor, including 3 decades of restoring the ancient biblical Hebrew calendar, together with the experiences that accompany years of living in Jerusalem and the Galilee, Michael Rood presents the inspired gospel records in chronological order to enrich your lifetime quest for truth. The chronological gospels piece together the life and ministry of the Messiah in a way no one has ever seen before. It reveals depth, beauty, and truth in the Word that could never be understood until it was put together to tell the story as it happened, complete and chronological. And now you can order your copy today. You can get the chronological gospels in 3 different ways. For your purchase of $69, you can order your own copy of the Chronological Gospels Bible. Or for your purchase of $117, you can receive the Chronological Gospels Essential Package, which includes the Chronological Gospels Bible, the Chronological Gospels 4 DVD set, Chronological Gospels Chart. Or for your purchase of $347, you can receive the Chronological Gospels Scholars Package, which includes the Chronological Gospels Bible, the Chronological Gospels 4 DVD set, Chronological Gospels Chart, the astronomically and agriculturally corrected Hebrew Travel Calendar, Creator's Calendar DVD, Spring and Fall Feasts DVDs, Raiders of the Lost Book DVD, Hebrew Yeshua versus Greek Jesus, Who Was Your Unauthorized Covering DVD, Mystery of Iniquity, Great Secret of Solomon's Temple DVD, If you purchased each item separately, you would pay over $444. Call today to receive your copy of the Chronological Gospels Bible or package set. Don't miss your opportunity to be blessed in the ways of the Messiah. Call or visit our website today.
Well, Scott, this is what I spend all my time reading. It took 40 years to be able to get all the research done, be able to correct the King James according to the ancient Greek and the Hebrew text, especially with the ancient Hebrew Matthew. Now that 28 ancient Hebrew texts of Matthew have been found, which have solved all of the problems that we've had with the Greek text that Greek scholars have had trouble with for centuries. And now I spend my time reading this because I wanted it my whole life. I've got it now. And you're doing something very special. I don't know if you know this, ladies and gentlemen, but Scott is in the team that he's put together to help wake up the world, is actually putting out a word of what is going on this week in Yeshua's ministry.
That's right. It's the Gospel Timeline Text Alerts is what you're looking for when you go to our website, chronogospels.com.
Chronogospels.com.
Yep, it's a shortened version, so you don't have to spell out you can also spell it out if you want, thechronologicalgospels.com. It'll take you to the same place.
Okay.
On the right-hand side, you'll see there's two advertisement spaces. On the bottom one, it says the Gospel Timeline Text Alerts. Click that, give us your phone number and your name, and you will get a text alert every time something significant in Yeshua's life happens. So it'll be on this day, this is what happened. So it gives you a screenplay, lets you live thinking, wow, this is what happened on this day in Yeshua's life. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it really is. And I enjoy getting them. I mean, right now it's rather sparse because, of course, here we are in, just after his mikvah. Here we are in this particular month, which is now, we are in the 12th month. Mm-hmm. And in the 12th month, and just last week was Purim. But this is the time that Yeshua was in the wilderness.
Right.
He's fasting at this point, at the beginning of his ministry, and at the end of his ministry. Last week was Purim. That's the time that he went up to Jerusalem and raised Lazarus from the dead.
Yeah.
And significant that Lazarus was in the grave 4 days. Okay, he is dead. All right, he's really dead. I mean, his family said, he wanted to go to the grave and said, Lord, he stinketh, which is one of the reasons I love King James. That's the only version that says, Lord, he stinketh. And so, this is not a term we use very often, but I'll tell you, Yeshua went up at that time, and we see that, this typification is that because of Haman and the act that was done in the kingdom of Achashverosh, all the Jews were dead. I mean, they were dead. According to the law of the Medes and Persians, they were dead. It was over. And by the act of the Almighty, from the dead, the entire nation came up and was able to come back, into the land of Israel, especially in these last days here. So this is, so this is kind of where we are in this. Yeah,
there's some prophetic significance there.
Well, what we're going to be doing, there are going to be times, ladies and gentlemen, where you're going to see 3, 4 things that transpire on a given day. And we're just going to take you right through it, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a year of learning for you. And when we finish up with the book of the Revelation, we're going to go into the Judges. We're also then going to go into an overview and understanding of the basic tenets of the Torah. And then once we get that, then which is the Torah is a schoolmaster, then what we do, we're going to take you into the chronological gospels. And this is going to be one of the greatest rides that you will have ever experienced in your life as we go through this. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking you to the land of Israel all the time, but every week, I look forward to this time that we get to go inside Israel with Ariella Stegall. Ariella, take it away.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome back to Inside Israel for Shabbat Night Live. I'm Ariella Stegall. Israel's famous Dead Sea. How can something dead be healthful? You can float in it, slather it on, and feel the mineral-rich waters healing your body. In Hebrew, the body of water is called the Salt Sea. It's full of minerals that nothing can live in. However, those very minerals are therapeutic for many skin conditions. These minerals make for super body mud masks and are prized as ingredients in cosmetics. The beaches of the Dead Sea are simply an hour's drive south of Jerusalem. In other news, out of the Egyptian Sinai Peninsula, an Islamic terror group fired a missile at a southern Israel resort city. However, the missile was intercepted and destroyed in midair by Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile defense system. Witnesses said that moments after the air raid sirens began, they heard two loud explosions. Israel deployed the Iron Dome battery in this southern resort city last year. We are thankful for Israel's soldiers, the watchmen on the wall, as they continually protect our borders, ensuring our safety as we sleep. I'm Ariella Stegall. Thank you for joining me for this week's edition of Inside Israel.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for that update, Ariella. We are at the place. We're coming up on when the modern rabbinic period of time is for the celebration of the Feast of Purim. And as you know, we celebrated it last week because it is the 15th day of the 12th month, and that's exactly what it tells us to do in the book of Esther. This is something that was put in place according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be changed. But yet, when the modern Jewish calendar was invented by Rabbi Hillel II in the year 359 of the Common Era, it took about 400 years total before that calendar became fully integrated into Jewish life, because it was a reckoning of time that we had never before used. And it was the last act of the Sanhedrin, before going into exile, that said, well, we're not going to be here to sanctify the witnesses and to verify the witnesses, citing the new moon. We're not going to be here for the barley in the land of Israel. There's no temple. And so they made up a new calendar that they said, we're going to keep this until the Messiah comes. Well, the Messiah himself did say, do not follow the takanot of the Pharisees. And the word takanot in Hebrew, which we find in Matthew 23, are laws enacted by the Pharisees which change or negate biblical law. So Yeshua, 300 years before the Pharisees changed the calendar, said, don't follow the Pharisees' calendar. Do not follow their takanot. When they make takanot in the future, it has nothing to do with you. Because these are all prophetic shadow pictures, ladies and gentlemen. And so even though we celebrated it then, this is the time of year that we remember our deliverance, because we are coming up to a time where the world government, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order, Babylon finally puts its death grip on the entire planet. And we are given this for encouragement, and this is part of the love gift. The entire 6-disc, 5-episode series on Purim, the making of the King's bride, which is all about the King of Kings and the making of his bride and what it takes to be in preparation. It also shows what the bride of the King, which has gone astray, how that bride of the King is rejected. Even though she is at first accepted, then rejected because of how she treats the king, and in rebellion against the king. And so these are not only the great shadow pictures concerning this day and time, it is also the marriage counseling class from the scriptures, okay? This is what exposes the women's liberation movement, which has now caused the destruction of the American family. It's not because women came up with it, it's because the socialists came up with this to destroy America and our republic. And so you want to understand the Creator's viewpoint, get this, it's part of the love gift. Now, part of this also is a book that has been done, The Feast for Families, and this has been done, there's a thematic unit that provides families with information on Hanukkah and Purim, including the ideas of how to celebrate it, activities for your children, which will increase their enjoyment and understanding of these special days. Now, this is done by my second oldest daughter, Sarah Rude Smith, and Sarah Smith, as a professional educator and as a mother with 2 children, it is now the next generation's ability to get this out. And as I went through this, I was amazed. This is a beautiful, beautiful book in which it's for people from 1-year-old to 900 years old. I mean, you can't outgrow this, and it is so beautifully done, and you're going to find just treasures in here for your family and also for your grandchildren. Also part of the love gift for this month is the mezuzah. Now, the mezuzah, this is, as it tells us in the scripture, it's talking about writing the scriptures, putting them on the doorpost of your house, putting them on the frames of your houses. And this was actually interpreted by the Samaritans to where the keystone over the doorway is inscribed in ancient Paleo-Hebrew with the Shema. Well, the tradition differed as far as how the Jewish interpretation of this, but they take the Shema in scriptures and written on a scroll inside, and this is posted on the doorpost of their house. And on the outside is the Shin, which represents not only the Almighty, El Shaddai, but also the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Shema Yisrael. And it reminds all the believers of the Messiah that we are to Shema, we are to hear the prophet, we are to hear and obey. And those who do not hear and obey, they will be judged according to their compliance with the words of the prophet. And that is why this is a constant reminder of the Messiah, the prophet of whom Moses spoke. And so when you put this on the doorpost of your house, when you go in and out, well, people will ask you, well, are you Jewish? Well, if you come from a Gentile world, no, but you're grafted into Israel. You're grafted into the root. But this reminds you of the prophet, Yeshua, who we must shema, we must hear and obey. And as you enter into your house, then we have this beautiful fragrant candle and also the incense, the oil. And this is the personal prayer pack, the oil of gladness, the rose of Sharon. And so we invite you to participate, donate to this ministry, and as a token of our appreciation, our love for you, and thankfulness that you are part of this family and desire to help us get the gospel of the kingdom out, this is what we'd like you to have. Of course, if you want to donate at any time, you can donate, and you don't have to get this. You can donate and say, I don't want this. You're welcome to it. And we have people that stood with us for decades, ladies and gentlemen, and every month they give and they say, don't send us anything. We just want the gospel that changed our life to get out to the rest of the world. And that is as far as it goes. But we really do invite you to participate in this and to get this beautiful set, which really will help you understand as believers what Yeshua was doing in fulfillment of the feast, why he went up to Hanukkah, why he went up and raised Lazarus from the dead at the time of Purim, what are the prophetic signification of these events, and what they have to do with the last days. So, Scott, this is something that we love to make available to people.
Yep, and I've never thought about it that way, that the story of Esther and Purim in the way that you just explained. So I just learned something sitting here, how that means something in our lives, and also the timing of when Yeshua went to raise Lazarus. I'd never given that any thought either. That's amazing.
Well, that's one of the things. If we do not understand chronology, and to understand chronology, first of all, we have to understand the biblical reckoning of time, which is completely foreign to anyone raised in the Western world. As a matter of fact, as preachers, we'd read through these things. Something happened on the fourth day of Shabbat, and we just read on past it. As long as we come close to pronouncing it, we just go on by it, and we don't even stop to think about it, because the month of Shabbat, what does it mean to us? We have no idea until we get connected with the Hebrew roots of our faith, not the Jewish roots, not the Pharisee roots, but the Hebrew roots, the original roots of our faith, and we understand the reckoning of time. We understand the feast of the Lord as prophetic shadow pictures, which is not even known as prophetic shadow pictures until we read the writings of Shaul, a Pharisee, a rabbi, a leader in Israel, a member of the Sanhedrin, a killer, the pit bull of the Sanhedrin. We have no idea that these are prophetic shadow pictures of good things to come and could not be even declared until that very point in time in which the spring feasts were fulfilled. So you want to understand the scriptures, understand the Creator's reckoning of time, understand the feast of the Lord, understand the chronology and what is happening when, and things open up like you would never imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 3D HD, the chronological gospels, and so make sure, stand with us and be back with us for our next segment, which is Annie and Laura with the Rood Review. So take it away, ladies.
Hi, I'm Annie.
And I'm Laura.
And you're here in time for the new and improved Rood Review.
I love it.
I do too. Now,
So Annie, I just got out of a meeting with Michael.
you're still here.
Not that kind of meeting.
Okay, good.
It's all good. It's all good. We just got done talking about Passover and planning it out. We're getting some questions in. And so I just got done talking to Michael and we've got Passover planned.
I am thrilled to hear this. So tell us, what is the plan?
Well, one of the new things we've got, besides a Hebrew photo booth, which is going to be awesome, one of the new things we have is on Friday afternoon, prior to registration, we're actually going to have some 45-minute classes set up throughout the day. So when people come in early, if they want to or they are there early, they can have somewhere to go, have something to do.
Wow. Well, I do see that we have one with Biblical Health Television.
Yeah.
And Arthur Bailey. Now, Michael is having a class as well?
He's going to do a little 45-minute class on Friday, and it's going to be pretty awesome. He's going to tell his story about how he goes in to places and spreads truth in a way that is inviting and only Michael Rood can. You want to hear the name of it?
I am.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Are you ready for this? The name of Michael's Friday afternoon class is Turning the World Upside Down, One Coffee Shop at a Time. Or, Michael likes subtitles. Subtitled, Word to Your Mother.
Now, this one seems fun.
It's going to be great. They're going to love it. So, yeah, join us a little early on Friday, and we will have something for you.
Well, I am excited about Friday. What about the rest of the weekend?
Well, you know what? There's one thing I do want them to know. If you register for one of those classes at Passover 14, you can also get early registration that day at the hotel. So just come on in early for your class. We'll get you taken care of. You don't have to come back at 4 and register.
That is
wonderful. It'll be great.
Wonderful.
We do have some more stuff later on during the event. One thing Michael told me about that he has rolled around in his head and it's now come to life that I'm very excited about is a teaching he's going to do on Saturday afternoon. This will be the prequel to the Seder event on Saturday night, and it's called The Trial of Yeshua. On Saturday afternoon, Michael's going to teach on the trial of Yeshua. And he says there are many aspects of that story that we just don't know. We've not been taught it. We're not grasping it. And he wants to get into an in-depth teaching on the trial of Yeshua. It's going to be beautiful.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm so excited about this entire weekend.
Every year we think it can't get better. And then every year somebody says, you can't top this. So I think 14, I know a few other things I can't tell yet. But 2014, I think, is going to be the most life-changing event we've ever had.
Now, tell me really quickly about the mikvah, because I know it's one of our favorite parts.
Every year we do a mikvah at every event, and we have to stuff everyone in this little small area, and only about 50 people get to go. This year, we're going to do the mikvah teaching in the main auditorium. And then those that want to go be mikvah can head over to the pool from there. So no one has to miss the mikvah teaching. You're going to want to be there. Right, Annie?
Definitely.
Tell them where to go.
Go to roodawakening.tv/Passover14 and join us this year.
Join us for Passover and join us next week for
The Rude Review.
Shabbat Shalom, Torah fans.
Thank you very much, ladies. And now, as I promised, we have Anna Maria Soprano with her song, Cut Away. And then I invite you, if you have not yet heard the Kiddush, the bread and the wine, to join me in the Tent of Abraham for the Kiddush tonight. And then our next to the last episode in the series, The Good News of the Apocalypse and the Demise of the New World Order. Tonight's episode, Babylon Has Fallen, or The Demise of the New World Order. And now, Anna Maria Soprano. Anna?
Righteous Yehovah,
traditions of modern Judaism remind us of what we did during the temple period. Not what we did, but they remind us of what we did. But the followers of Yeshua also have some other traditions, some other things that are reminders of what has been accomplished for us. They are reminders of what goes back long before the temple period, and it reminds us of what happened the very year that Yeshua was crucified and resurrected. At the Last Supper that Yeshua had with his disciples, the Greek scriptures tell us that he took arton. He took leavened bread and broke it. Of course, the English, the Greek, and all scriptures tell us that this Last Supper was before the Feast of Passover, and the following morning, the Pharisees refused to go into Pilate's judgment hall because they didn't want to be defiled so that they could eat the Passover. This is not the Passover meal, and every time we serve bread and wine gives us the opportunity, as Yeshua says, as often as you do this in remembrance of me. And so, as Yeshua said, this represents my body, which will be broken for you. This represents my shed blood. And he spoke the prayer that the Melech Tzedek shared with Abraham thousands of years ago. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. And Yeshua took bread, and he blessed the Most High, saying, Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Yehovah, our Elohim, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. As often as you do this, we do this in remembrance of him. This is the Gospel of the Revelation and the demise of the New World Order. Babylon has fallen, or the demise of the New World Order. Well, this is such an exciting moment in time because here it is. It's the revelation of Yeshua Messiah, which he gave unto his disciple Yohanan, John, but it's also the revealing of Yeshua as the Messiah. See, when he came the first time, he did not proclaim himself to be the Messiah. In fact, anyone who uttered the words that, in code, you are the son of David, because of course the Messiah has to be the son of David, or someone openly said, you are the Messiah, he hushed them immediately. He would not even let his disciples tell anyone. Peter responded to Yeshua's question, who do men say that I am, by giving him a litany of answers, but finally he said, well, who do you say that I am? And he said, you are the Messiah, you are the Son of the living God, and Yeshua said, you are blessed, Peter. Flesh and blood hasn't shown it to you. My Father in heaven showed it to you, but he tells Peter and everyone else, all the disciples around, don't tell anyone. I must go to Jerusalem where I will be delivered into the hands of the Gentiles, and the Gentiles will kill me. He came the first time as the prophet that Moses spoke of, the prophet that we must shema, we must hear and obey. And he repeats that prophecy from Deuteronomy over and over and over and over again. People are responding about that prophet, the prophet of whom Moses spoke. This must be the prophet that we've heard about our whole life, the one that Moses told us to expect, the one who told us that we would learn how to walk the Torah when we've got so many opinions. Every rabbi's got opinion. The Pharisees got opinion. The Sadducees got opinion. Every sect of the Sadducees have opinion. Every other division, we've got the school of Hillel, we've got the school of Shammai, and they're all disagreeing. When will the prophet come and set it straight? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got a news flash for you. He came. He lived out the Torah. He said that the takanot of the Pharisees, the man-made rules and regulations, have no binding authority whatsoever. He said to his disciples in the Hebrew Matthew, do not follow the takanot maasim of the Pharisees. Don't do it. Don't follow them. That's the wrong path. That's the path of religion that leads to destruction. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to find that their system, the entire religious, economic, political, and financial world system is about to come to a thundering conclusion as we are now into the parentheses, which is chapter 17, verse 1 through chapter 18, 24, in which we have Mystery Babylon not only described, but also Mystery Babylon that will be completely destroyed. Now, the word mystery, as we delved into the book, The Mystery of Iniquity, we find out that the mystery means that which is not yet have not yet been revealed, or that which cannot be revealed to novices or the uninitiated. Because, that kind of mystery, they just wouldn't get it, okay? And a lot of things are mysteries in the scripture until we begin obeying, and then as we obey, more truth is given to us. One of the most beautiful things that Yeshua says, and really dear to my heart, is the reality. He says, unto those who are, to those to whom it is given, or to those that obey, when you read the context, more will be given. But those who do not obey the truth that they have been given, even the truth that they now have will be stolen, will be taken from them. And we see this. This is life, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it goes. You obey the truth that you've got, and you'll get more truth. But when you stop obeying, you don't need any more truth. You won't obey the truth you have. So you'll enter into the world of ever learning, but not able to come to a knowledge of the truth. Because the revelation comes to those who will obey, who will be faithful to the end. As our example before, Shahanan, the man was boiled in oil. Every inch of his body was scarred. He stood firm. They still couldn't shut his mouth, and so they had to put him in exile on a deserted island, basically, Devil's Island, Patmos, at the time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand the veracity of Yeshua's words. The Torah has not gone away. Not one vowel or consonant will be nullified until all things are fulfilled. And then it's not going to be nullified at that point, because his words and his rules are eternal. They just plain never go away. Well, now here we are. The wrath is finished. The cry goes out. It is finished on Tishri 10, Yom Kippur. Now we have the parenthetical explanation of the destruction of Babylon the Great. And we begin reading about Mystery Babylon. And so we're going to see if at this point in time that this mystery that to the former generations, to the uninitiated, where they may not have been able to figure this thing out, let's see if we've got some clues in this day and time that will help us along this line. As we read, chapter 17, verse 1. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came out and spoke to me, saying, come with me, and I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. And, great whore, that's what it says in King James. I prefer to maintain that, not prostitute, not a woman of ill repute, not, one of Belle Watlin's handmaids, because a whore is a very hard word, it's a very harsh word, and this is the religious, the political, the economic, the prostitution that takes place in which those who enter into this are in for it. And it says that this is the great whore that sits upon many waters. We see in the scriptures that waters represent, many times it represents many people. And it says that in verse 2, that the kings of the earth have committed adultery with her. I believe that the King James reads fornication, but fornication is really defined differently in every state of the union. It's legally defined, but it's defined differently in every state of the union. This is more of an erva matter, and of course, adultery is absolutely forbidden. For a man to have another person's wife is absolutely forbidden. And so the kings of this earth have committed adultery with her. So obviously, this whore is married to somebody already, and we're going to find out to whom. And it says that the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her sexual immorality. So this angel said, let me show you. He carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, where I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-covered beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, which were covered with the name of blasphemy. Now, as I write this, the name of blasphemy literally means the name of insult. And at this point in time in history, the most probable candidate for the name of insult is Allahu Akbar, which by direct inference is Allah is greater, which implies that he's greater than Yahovah, the Elohim, the God of Israel. And Islam is the new religion which now dominates most of the landmass once occupied by the Roman Empire. And this name of insult is first cited in Revelation chapter 13:1, when it's talking about these armies. It's talking about those who go after the woman, which is Israel, and those who are followers, disciples of the Messiah, who have the testimony of the Messiah and keep the commandments. And so when we look at the description of these beasts that we see in the book of Revelation, when we go back in time, we see that each one of these beasts, the leopard, the lion, the bear, these are all describing nations back in the book of Daniel, which today are completely dominated by Islam, which is a religion that was invented by Muhammad, just by one man. It was invented by him, and it's turned in this psycho-megalomaniacal, political, religious thing in which these people want to dominate the world. It's all based on the worship of a fictitious moon god who has absolutely no power. And that's why there's so many Muslims today who are becoming believers, because, they get out, they're praying fervently to this moon god. And just like those who are cutting themselves with stones and all, when there's the big showdown between the Lord and the prophets of the Lord and the prophet Eliyahu, the prophet of Yahovah, then we see that, they were doing everything, torturing themselves, willing to kill themselves for this fictitious God that doesn't exist, and yet the Almighty showed himself mighty, and this is what's going to be happening for those worshipers of the fictitious moon god as well. But the name of blasphemy, name of insult, could there be anything greater than Allahu Akbar? Well, I guess if we take a look at Rome for just a minute, we see that Constantine, who named himself after Eusebius, the one who, more than 300 years after the resurrection of Yeshua, denying more than 300 years of testimony, Eusebius came up with this ridiculous 3.5-year ministry of Jesus fairy tale, because he's trying to figure out the messianic prophecy of Daniel chapter 9. Well, Eusebius was the one who wrote the oration in exaltation of the Emperor Constantine, who then named himself the Pontifex Maximus, which is the title of the high priest of paganism. And so now the Pontifex Maximus, or La Popa, then calls himself the Vicar of Christ, or instead of Christ. In Latin, it's anti, which means instead of, anti-Christ. Okay? I'm sorry, this is what the Pope calls himself, the instead of, or the Antichrist. All right? All we have to do is go from Greek over into Latin, and we see, here you want an Antichrist who then also calls himself Almighty God upon the earth. Talk about an insult. If the Pope, if that moron, I mean, you can't find anyone a little bit more dense concerning the Scripture. I mean, especially the last Pope, at least he admitted that most of these traditions we got from Rome as far as chronology are all a fairy tale. Yeshua wasn't born in the year 1. The temple wasn't destroyed in the year 70. This is all just manipulated fairy taleism that came out of Rome by he who calls himself Almighty God upon the earth. Talk about a name of blasphemy, a name of insult. Well, there you have it. Well, this woman was sitting upon a scarlet-covered beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed, verse 4, in purple and scarlet and bedecked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and she had a cup in her hand full of abominations, full of tovah and shekets. This is exactly what the Almighty says. Do not learn the way of the heathen, how they worship and serve their gods and do the same thing, say you're doing it to me. It's an abomination. Christmas, Easter, Halloween, these are all pagan sun god worship festivals, child sacrifice festivals, nothing to do with the true God whatsoever, all adopted by Rome, and then we inherited them even into the Protestant. Talk about protesting. Well, why didn't you go a little bit further than Martin Luther, okay? He nailed 95 theses to the wall. Where are the ministers out there who are studying the Scriptures and nailing the other 999 theses against the wall, okay? It's full of abominations. And this is the golden cup of in her hand, and abominations and filthiness of her sexual immorality. I mean, talk about Easter, the bare-breasted goddess's sexual desire, the reincarnated Semiramis, the wife of Nimrod, and this is what we've inherited in Christianity. It's an abomination. And it says, and upon her forehead was written the name Mystery Babylon. It can't be quite out in the open, so it's a Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Well, the last pope before, Francis, I guess, is the new one. Yeah, he named himself after St. Francis of Assisi. I should remember that. The last pope said that the Catholic Church is not permitted, and they must stop referring to the Protestant churches as sister churches, because the Catholic Church is the mother church. Thank you very much. The mother of harlots, the mother of the abominations. I mean, the Pope laid it right out of the line. It's forbidden for the Catholic priest to refer to the Protestants as sisters. No, we're the mother, they're the little harlots. You want to get out of it? Follow the Messiah. You don't have to be called a whore, but that's what most of you are involved in. You're involved in churchianity whoredoms. Just inviting you to come out of Babylon so that you receive not her plagues. Somebody's got to tell you the truth, okay? Because everyone else out there is milking you for every dime they can get out of you. They won't dare offend you. Well, I'm offended by those who won't offend anyone. So, in verse 7. Now, so wait, excuse me. Okay. Upon her head was written the name, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. And I saw that the woman was drunk on the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I was struck with awe. Over 60 million people admittedly massacred by the Roman Catholic Church, who, by the way, invented and funded, and I mean, the Roman, the Papa, the Pope, sent, what's Mohammed's, what's his girl's name? Fatima. Send Fatima down there to energize this whole thing so that they could make an enemy against the Jews. Okay? The Pope's idea was to exterminate the Jews, so he helped to, the La Popa helped to create this monster that Muhammad invented so that they would exterminate the Jews. So that the Pope could be the vicar of Christ, Almighty God upon the earth, and get rid of the Jews. Well, thankfully, the Almighty has a plan for Israel, a plan for the Jews. And he also has a plan, we could see, for the mother of all the whore religions and economic systems upon the planet. It's going to happen. The blood of the martyrs, drunk with the blood of the martyrs. And so, it says, the angel questioned me, why are you marveling so? I will now tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her. The one that has 7 heads and 10 horns, you know, that beast that you saw earlier? The beast that you saw was before and is not now, but will ascend out of the abyss and then go into perdition. And when they see the beast that was and is not now, and yet is to come, those who dwell upon the earth shall be in awe. Those whose names were not written in the scroll of life from the foundation of the world. Now, here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains upon which the woman sits. Well, we all know that Rome, the city of Rome, sits on 7 mountains. And if you haven't been there, you've got to go there to witness it. And these 7 mountains are the 7 heads upon which the woman sits. There are 7 kings. You know, it's not just mountains. There's another layer here. There are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is now, and the other is yet to come. And when it does come, he will only reign for a short time. Now, you know, if we take a look at this very thing here, we see that five are fallen, and 1 is now, and 1 is to come, okay? We take a look at these world empires in the book of Daniel, and we see, first of all, we see Egypt, and then after the Egyptian empire, after that comes out Assyria, and then Babylon, and then Media, then Greece, and then all those 5 have fallen. What is the one now? It's Rome. And the one that is now, and yet there is another to come. And when he does come, he's going to be here just for a short time. The beast that was and is not now, he is the 8th and is of the 7 and is the one who goes into perdition. Now, you know, just look at this. See, you know, there's so many ways to look at this, but when we see when Rome fell, when Rome was destroyed, then, and really it was of 476 of the Common Era when Rome finally fell, and so the vestiges of the Roman Empire, then that came out of that were the Lombards in Italy, the Franks in France, the Burgundians in Switzerland, the Suevi in Portugal, the Alemanni in Germany, the Anglo-Saxons of Britain, the Visigoths of Spain, and then the Ostrogoths, the Heruli, and the Vandals. And they were all destroyed by the Pope and Emperor Justinian. But you see what happened is that because of the persecution of the Jews, there was one Jew who was persecuted and actually became a Christian, and that his name was Christopher Columbus. And actually, he has morning sickness to thank. Well, he said that the world has morning sickness to thank that his mother was not killed because they were on their way to a Passover Seder. His mother and father were, and she was so ill because she was pregnant, morning sickness with him, that they turned around, went home, and the Roman Catholics came in and slaughtered everyone at that Passover Seder. Who wasn't in that at Passover Seder? Christopher Columbus' mother, who was pregnant with him. Well, it was Christopher Columbus that then discovered the New World, at least to the point that Europe began moving over there. And who came out? It's the Roman Empire that moved over to America and began building a Novus Ordo Seclorum. And this empire is going to remain for a short season, but what's coming out of this empire is the United Nations. The Novus Ordo Seclorum, the one world government, is coming out of what is left over from the vestiges of the Roman Empire. And who's in charge of the entire monetary system of the United States? It's not Americans. It's all those who came out of the Roman Empire. It's the world bankers out of Europe who have established themselves in Puerto Rico, and that's why Puerto Rico will never become a state, because it is the offshore haven of the world bankers known as the Federal Reserve System. And so when you take a look at these world empires, which are destroyed, one is now, and that one's going to go away, Rome, and then out of Rome, finally the United States comes, and the United States then brings about the United Nations and the whole globalist agenda of the Bilderbergers, the Trilateral Commission, in short, the Illuminati, which is still alive, living, and well upon the earth. The conspiracy against the Almighty to rule the world completely free from the bonds of the Almighty, as we read in the 7th Psalm. And now we come down, the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but will receive authority as kings for just 1 hour with the beast. These kings will have one intention, and they will give their authority and strength to the beast. This is what we read about as Nebuchadnezzar was given this dream, and this is what Daniel interpreted when nobody else could interpret it, the 10 toes at the end. They're partly iron and partly of baked clay ceramic. So they look like toes, but they're not really individuals. What's behind them is the power of the one world government. These toes are going to be shattered, revealing what's at the bottom of this thing, but they're going to be shattered by the stone that comes out of heaven and hits it and shatters and destroys all the kingdoms of this world. All of of what remains of these kingdoms in the last days will be completely obliterated, and that mountain, that rock, which is the Messiah, will then completely dominate all of planet Earth. It says, verse 14, they will make war with the Lamb, but the Lamb shall overcome them because he is the indisputable master over all. He is the King of kings. He is a rock, the stone that comes out of heaven, cut out without hand. He is the King of kings, the indisputable master over all. I added the word indisputable in the corrected King James Version because it needs to be emphasized. Master over all, indisputable. Nobody has a right to argue with the King of kings. He is revealed as El Shaddai, Yehovah Tsevaot, the Almighty Judge. Those who stand with him are called and chosen and faithful. If you're not called, you're not going to stand with him. When you're called, then you have to choose to respond appropriately. And then he chooses you in return and endues you, clothes you with grace, which is the empowerment to live a holy, a righteous, and a godly life in the middle of a sick, twisted, perverse, and dying world. And those who stand with him are faithful. And that we must be faithful to the end. We're going to take a short break right now, and as we do each week, and to you who are out there watching this, maybe you're watching this months and years into the future. I may be gone by now, by the time you're watching this. But the reason you're watching this is because people have stood with me through the years and continue to stand with me, because this will change your life. This is the gospel of the kingdom that is now in the digital age, as Yeshua knew what would happen. He said, this gospel of the kingdom must be preached in all the world for a witness. It is being preached. This revelation is going out to you, and now it is your turn to turn around and to support this ministry. calling the number on your screen, whatever it may be. It may not even be in America by the time you're watching this sometime into the future. This is January of 2014 that this is being recorded. You could be watching this into the future. The smoke may be just clearing in a part of the world. You may be getting this DVD. Find us. Find whoever's getting this out and support them, help them. But those who are watching it live, this is your time to live write a check. Take a stand with us. Be part of this ministry because this is the gospel of the kingdom. We'll be back in a moment after you have your opportunity with the Father to make your decision and to make your pledge. As Mystery Babylon is being described, we go to verse 15. After it is stated, those who stand with the King of Kings are called and chosen and faithful. And then the next statement, then the angel said to me, the waters which you saw where the whore sits are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right here in the context, it lets you know that the waters are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. The 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, they hate the whore. They hate this whore and will expose her nakedness and make her desolate. In the end, they will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All these nations that come out of her. And especially what we see with Islam is going to go after its mother, its progenitor, which is the church in Rome. We can use the word church here because as Tyndale was very careful, Wycliffe was very careful about this. The only time he translated the word ecclesia in his New Testament, the only time he translated ecclesia as church is when it referred to pagan temples. Other times it was the assembly, the gathering together, the kahila, the assembly of believers. So it was the church, the pagan religion of Rome that invented these religions, and it is all these nations are going to hate this whore and are going to expose her nakedness and eat her flesh, burn with fire. It's going to be a big pig picking, if you please. Verse 17, because Yahovah has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree to give their kingdom to the beast so that the Torah of Yahweh will be fulfilled. The woman that you saw is the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. And so I don't think it's a real big mystery at this point. Now, we continue on with the second portion of the parentheses. The parentheses, again, goes from 17:1 to 18:24, and this is the second portion of the parentheses where Mystery Babylon is destroyed. And I brought out my Bible. This is my New Testament that you can see is covered with all sorts of beautiful colors here. If we can get a shot of this thing. I never marked in this. I never put one single mark in this Bible here. Not one single mark in here until one night. By revelation, on the way to Thunder Bay, Ontario, by revelation, and when I say by revelation, you have got to watch my testimony, which is Michael Rood Exposed, the Confessions of a Cult Leader. And I tell the whole story of exactly what happened. I'm on my way up to Thunder Bay, and I'm driving. For a year, I was a professional truck driver, drove an 18-wheeler cross country, and this was my time because the Almighty told me to go drive a truck. I did this, and then I found out why. Because on that trip, my hours were up, I stopped, I went into the back, I got down on my knees and prayed before getting in bed, and I am so energized, something is going on, and I know it. I opened up the book of Revelation, and I prayed. I said, Father, you know that I've been reading this my entire life. I have more notes in the book of Revelation than any other place in my other Bible, and my whole life, and you can reveal it to me if you will. Just like you revealed it to Yohanan, you can reveal it to me. And then bam, right there, that is when I saw it and I heard it and I shouted out exactly what I heard. It's all there and it's all in order. It's all there and it's all in order. The abomination of desolation, the gathering together of the saints, it's all there and it's all in order. And then I started at the beginning and I knew exactly where it was. I picked up a pen and it's still there in this book today. All of the parentheses throughout the book of Revelation, I saw it. Right by divine revelation, I put them all there. They were all there and it was all in order. And once I did that, went all the way through it. And then I prayed and I knew. And I prayed and then I knew. I'm to find two people and to teach them the book of the Revelation. That is what I'm to do on this trip to Thunder Bay. You're gonna have to watch the rest of you're gonna have to watch the video to go into the rest of it because it took me a little while to tell the story, but you gotta do it, ladies and gentlemen. It's on YouTube, it's all over the place. Watch that video because you need to see the hand of the Almighty. Now, I met with some academics, and we were talking about doing this as part of a college course, and it said that the work that I did in the book of Revelation, this is how they're typified, the work that I did in the book of Revelation in the parentheses alone is worthy of a PhD in that particular area alone. No one has ever done this. And I said, well, it may be worthy of that, but I didn't do it. The Holy Spirit gave it to me. And the proof of it is this is the key that set the whole thing there and unlocked the whole thing. So it's not my great knowledge. It's not any great wisdom on my part. It's the decision of heaven to download this because I was in a place where I was obedient to do what I was asked to do. I quit my job. I went and became a truck driver, okay? It was so I could spend months, more than a year, alone with the Almighty, and he could direct me where to go. And then after that, I quit that job with no way of supporting myself. And that was then when he led me to the doorstep, led me to the home of Ron Wyatt. And then from there, right directly over to Israel, and then into the home of Eduardo Recanati, one of the 7 original founders of the Temple Treasures Institute, who was the one who was sent with a boatload of money down into Ethiopia, who had to pay to find out that the Ark of the Covenant is not there, and then on down to Egypt, down at the Great Pyramid of Giza, and then back up to Jerusalem for the sand hydraulic elevator system built into Solomon's temple. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in for the treat of your life. Watch the testimony, get it on DVD, watch The Great Secret of Solomon's Temple. You'll find out why my life is the way it is. It's because the Almighty has touched my life, and I cannot take the credit myself. That's why I speak with such confidence. It's not arrogance, it's because it came from heaven, and I am absolutely sure and certain about the things that I have been ordained and commissioned to teach you. Those who are not sure, those who have to quote other people, go ahead, listen to those if you want to. I don't have the time to waste. Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen? Babylon, Mystery Babylon is destroyed. Chapter 18, verse 1. After these things I saw another angel come down from heaven. He had great power, and the earth was lit with his glory. He cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great has fallen. She has fallen and has become the habitation of demons. As if she wasn't infested with enough demons already. And the cell or the cage for every foul spirit. A cage for every unclean and detestable bird, which is sometimes used as a euphemism for demonic spirits as well. All nations have drunk the wine of her passion for sexual immorality. And here we see it again, ladies and gentlemen. One archdiocese, California, a seminary, more than 5,000 registered pedophile Roman Catholic priests. Talk about a cage for every unclean, detestable, stinking, foul bird and demonic spirit. Talk about a passion for sexual immorality. My goodness, people, can you get any more grotesque than that? Taking advantage of altar boys. Oh my God, people. Hell has no fury adequate for these sex perverts. The kings of the earth. The kings of the earth. Are the ones who have committed adultery with her. The merchants of the earth have grown wealthy through the abundance of her excesses and luxuries. Then I heard another voice from heaven crying, Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people, so that you be not partaker of her sins, so that you do not participate in her plagues. See, it's more than a religious system. This is an entire economic and political world government system. Her sins have reached to heaven, and you're told to come out of her. Abraham was told to come out of Babylon. In the end days, the children of Abraham are told to come out of Babylon. Her sins have reached to heaven. Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you. Double her punishment, twice according to her works. And in the same cup which she had filled, fill it back to her twice over. In the same measure that she has praised herself and lived wantonly, reward her with as much torment and sorrow. For she has said in her heart, I sit as a queen, I'm no widow. I will see no sorrow. Her plague shall come in one day. Death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire. Mighty is Yahovah, your Elohim, who judges her. The kings of the earth who have committed adultery with her and lived extravagantly shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off. For the fear of her torment, they will cry, Alas! Alas! That great and mighty city, Babylon! In 1 hour has her judgment come. The merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn for her, because no man will buy their merchandise anymore. The cargoes of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and incense and various implements of ivory, the various furnishings of precious woods, brass, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and McLarens, marble, cinnamon, frankincense, ointment, wine, champagne, fine flour, wheat, beast, natural and genetically modified sheep and horses, chariots and slaves, and the souls of men. The things that your soul lusted after have departed from you. All the things that were intricate and beautiful have departed from you, and you will never, ever, ever, ever see them again. So if you want to take the part of the rich men of the earth who weep and howl for the miseries that will come upon us, go ahead, heap to yourselves treasure against the last days. Don't heed my warning. Don't listen to me. Don't support this ministry. Don't help out. Just go for it. Go for the brass ring. Heap together treasures, because it's all going to come and eat your flesh in the last days. You are going to be so sorry when you can't feed your children because of the decisions you made now. Because you're not going to get any help from the Almighty. Oh no, and grace isn't going to cover you then. That's when you're going to need grace, which is empowerment, divine empowerment, because you depended upon His mercy, Him withholding judgment because of your disobedience to His commandments. Saying, oh, Jesus kept the law, so I don't have to. Jesus kept the law, so you don't have to. What kind of stupid, absolutely asinine logic is that? Try that in a court of law someplace, you idiot. You've got to be stupider than a hedgehog to come up with something that illiterate. Jesus kept the speed limit, so I don't have to. I can't believe it. And this is a kind of absolute insipid drivel that's on Christian television. Grace is a license to do whatever you want? No, it's not. Your license to go directly to hell. To the grave. I try to no longer use these words for the tender ears of those who are under 3. Because by the time you're 5, you ought to understand what Gehenna, Hades, and Sheol, what they really are, biblically speaking. So I don't want to upset anyone out there. Yeah, right. This is the kinder, gentler Rude that you're looking at. But you can kiss it all goodbye. It's all going bye-bye. This is your last chance for the Enzo Ferrari. That's it. This is it. It's all going bye-bye. When Yeshua gets here, He's going to put a gas guzzler tax on that kind of thing that you ain't going to be able to pay. I want to talk about this thing. Because Isaiah prophesied, listen to me, Isaiah prophesied of the final judgment of Babylon in the last days with these same words. I shall be a queen forever. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I suffer the loss of children. This is in Isaiah chapter 47, verses, where is that? 7. Let me read it. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Because Israel was scattered among the heathen. among Babylon. We were sent into exile into Babylon. We're now coming back into the land just as he promised that Israel would become a nation in one day. It happened on the seventh Sabbath of the counting of the Omer, the very thing we were told to count forever, not understanding the prophetic significance of that good thing to happen in the future, but yet Israel became a nation in one day, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah. And even though we were scattered among the nations now, we were given into the hand of Babylon. And it says, thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou hast said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to your heart. Neither did you remember the latter end of it and what would happen because you were disobedient to my commandments. Therefore, hear now this, that thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly. You say in your heart, I am, and there's none beside me. I just evolved after millions of years of aberrant chance mutations in a purely mechanical universe. There is no God out there. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment. In one day, your children are going to die, the loss of your children and widowhood. They shall come to you in their perfection, or in the fulfillment, the end product. For the multitude of your sorceries, King James, what is it in the Septuagint? The multitude of your pharmakia. And for the great abundance of your pharmakia associations. For you trusted in your wickedness, in your twisting it, in your genetic modification of things. You say nobody sees you. Your wisdom and your knowledge has perverted you. You've said in your heart, I am, there's no one else beside me. Ha! Therefore, evil will come upon you, and you will have no idea where it came from. Mischief shall fall upon you, and you will have no idea how to put it off. Suddenly, desolation will come upon you, and you will not know what hit you. Stand now with your pharmakia associations, with the multitude of your pharmakia, wherein you have labored from your youth. If you're able to profit from it, if you can make billions and billions of dollars, $1 trillion a year just in America on your pharmakia, concocting this stuff in a laboratory, then go ahead, go for it. If you think you can profit, but it's not going to happen. Judgment is coming. Right now, I want to take you to the Heidelberg Castle, to the Pharmakia Museum of all Europe, to get the background on where this all started. We are in the ancient castle here in Heidelberg, Germany, at the Pharmakia Museum. This is the Pharmakia Museum for all of Europe. And it is in this room that we go back in history to the time that the leaves of the trees were given for the healing of the nations. We understand from the scriptures that in the book of Genesis, we were given the trees in which there is fruit with the seed therein, and it is in that scope that we are given everything that we need for the human body to sustain itself and to heal itself from any disease. We are going back to the garden. In the book of Revelation, it tells us that again, the leaves of the trees are given for the healing of the nations. Here in this museum, we're going to take you through time so that you can see that what started out with the simple herbs, the leaves of the trees, in which men understood the very things that we need for the body to sustain itself, is then finally turned into what the scripture says in the last days, that the great men of the earth, the merchants of Babylon, will use pharmakia to deceive the nations of the world. So there it is. From the leaves of the trees given for the healing of the nations to that which is made in a laboratory that will destroy us and is destroying us. And they are lying to the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this again. Let's take a look. Verse 15, the merchants who were made wealthy by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, that great city was clothed in fine purple and scarlet and all this precious stone and pearls. In 1 hour, all her great riches have come to absolutely nothing. And every shipmaster and all those who travel by ship and sailors and as many as trade by sea shall stand afar off and cry when they see the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? They will cast dust on their heads and weep and wail and cry, alas, that great city whereby all that had ships in the sea were made rich because of the vast wealth. In 1 hour she's been made desolate. Rejoice over her, heavens, and holy apostles and prophets. Yahovah has avenged you on her. And now, verse 21. Then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone cast in the sea, saying, with great violence that great city Babylon will be thrown down and will never be seen again. The sound of harpers and musicians and pipers and trumpets and union shop foremen and unions, none of them are going to be heard in you again. No craftsman of any craft ever will be found in you, Babylon, again. Nor the sound of the millstone will be ever heard in you again. The light of a candle, even a candle, will never again shine in you. It is the complete and utter destruction of Mystery Babylon in all of its ramifications. The New World Order, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, the world bankers who have heaped together treasure for the last days and withheld that which rightfully belongs to those who actually worked for it. Those that they turned into slaves for their sake, so that they can run the world, the guardians, as Plato articulated, and is being followed with absolute precision in the halls of power today. Those who sit in the seats of power in America today aren't even the players. They are just as much pawns, and they are going to be just as much destroyed. Those who sit in the White House, simply pawns in there, doing the will of the Father that needs to be done so that judgment can come upon this nation and the world, and so that the wheat is separated from the chaff. It says, neither will the voice of the bridegroom or the voice of the bride ever be heard in you again. And then it states the reason for Mystery Babylon's destruction. Listen carefully. I'm only going to say it 1,000 times. Because this is why we spent 2 chapters describing Babylon and the destruction of Babylon that will be utterly broken up, the demise of the New World Order, because the merchants of Babylon are the great men of the earth. They're the cosmocratorus. They're the kings of the earth. There's the ones that rule kings. The great men of the earth. The great men of the earth. Because the merchants of Babylon are the great men of the earth, and by their pharmakia, all the nations of the earth were deceived. We are no longer eating food, we're eating pharmakia. Our children are being destroyed before our very eyes. The most healthy nation of the world has become the sickest nation of the world, and all the nations of the earth were deceived. And because in her was found the blood of the prophets and of the saints, and all those were slain upon the earth. It ends our parentheses. It ends Babylon. It is destroyed. It's over because the great men, the wealthy men of the earth are the ones who've destroyed the entire earth. And the great green peace from on high, Yeshua himself, is going to see to it that nothing is left, not a burning, not a lit candle is left when he returns. I would like to pray. Yehovah, bless you and keep you. Yehovah, make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May Yehovah lift up his countenance in his effulgent glory upon you, now and in the days to come, in the name of Yeshua, our Messiah. Shabbat shalom, lahitraot, adios. We'll see you later. Have a good week. Shabbat tov. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes an extreme amount of energy, time, and money to make these broadcasts available, these teachings available to you and to those around the world. And we really need you to seriously stand with us on this very project that Yeshua put us on, to take the gospel of the kingdom that he taught to the entire world in the last days. The opportunity is there. With more than 30 people on staff just here in the United States to make these things available, it takes a lot of money, an unbelievable amount of money, a scary amount of money to give this stuff away free around the world. And if you have been blessed by these teachings, then I'm asking you to stand with us, to financially support this ministry. Tithe into these modern day Levites who are getting the gospel of the kingdom out to the world. Now, I know that we're all Kohanim, we're all priests, but the Levites are the ones that skin the animals, that clean up the mess, that have to do the hard work. And if you appreciate the work that we're doing and reaching out to you around the world, please stand with us and stand with us today. Thank you. Bless you. And I'll see you when the smoke clears.